Yeah.
Order filled. Check us out.
You know what time it is.
This is a Mighty Soldiers exclusive.
Yeah. Let's get it. Let's get it.
What's up, guys? Andy with Mighty Soldiers Trades here. So great to see you guys. We have another episode of Get Psyched with Agnieszka. Sorry. Okay. I'm just gonna bring it. I can't talk right.
It was pretty good. Agnieszka. Hi, guys. Hi, everybody. Hi, Andy. It's so cool. Seriously, every Wednesday, I'm really looking forward to be here. It almost kind of, I wake up and I'm like, hey, we're going to talk to Andy today and to everyone who is listening. So that's cool.
Yeah, I absolutely love and look forward to Wednesdays. And this one, basically, I'm just going to get into it. We had an amazing week. This week, I'm just going to go for the last 2 days because I think that's all we have, right? Yeah, well, it's Wednesday. So Tuesday and Wednesday have been amazing. I don't know what happened on Monday. I don't even know what happened Monday. I don't remember. So
it's funny. Monday I don't remember either. It went pretty fast. I mean, this week went pretty fast, I have to say. And I am guilty of trading longer than I normally do because I do stop at 11, but the market has been incredible and I have been stuck in front of the computer almost till the close. At least I did some things in between, but I did watch the close, which I normally don't do very actively in front of the computer. So yeah, it was a good week, but intense for sure.
Okay, so yeah, I yesterday I was talking to somebody in our chat, and we were basically calling these rippers live, not like alerts like, hey guys, I'm so awesome, but I have really amazing software that shows me what's moving. And so I don't really miss what's moving. Yesterday, I caught every single ripper that was over 100%, and that all added up into an amazing time. It allowed me to basically erase a lot of the mistakes that I made during the whole downturn. So the downturn is like it never even happened. It never slapped me in the face. And then today I wake up and we have, what is it? I don't know, QNRX, MDIA, ENVB, AMTD. I'm just looking at some tickers over here. And those are just a couple that were over 100% today. We had 330% rippers that are like just monsters, halt after halt. And I kind of thrive in these crazy environments.
Do you trade those?
Oh, I trade.
You trade those like the HDK. I think it was HDK, right? The one that went from like 12 to 2000. Did you trade?
So now you're just trying to hurt my feelings. Now you're just trying to hurt my feelings. Okay.
Or you didn't trade it, or you did trade it?
Yeah, I did. I traded HDK. I think I got it the first time at around $30, the second time at around $100, and I did not hold it to $2,500 at all. I got my piece and I got out. Right? Yeah, of course not.
Yes, of course not. I mean, I was looking at it and I was thinking, can you just imagine if you short that thing, you probably wiped out. I mean, I cannot imagine how many people wiped out their accounts. And great for people who made money. I stay away from stuff like that. I have learned the hard way, and I'm just like, I don't even put it on my computer. I saw it on the side, and I'm like, I don't touch this thing. So it's amazing that you can trade this.
You know, the first thing that I do, I notice Dan Merkin does this quite a bit. I see his alerts whenever he shares something on the Trade Ideas Twitter, and it's basically, looking for related stocks. So AMTD, that is that was something that had beasted out based off of what is it, HKD? Is that it?
HDK, HKD.
Yeah, something
I don't
like
know
that.
anymore. Yep. Now you mix me up.
HKD.
HDK. Sorry, HDK.
Either way, that one was low volume, and it was not. I look for liquidity. I look for a stock that's moving fluidly. That I can see that if I get in at the bid or get in at the ask, or if I say I get in at the bid and I want to get out at the ask, it's going to happen. That it's actually moving and flowing through those. Today, I had so many times when I would put my order like ask -1 or bid +1, and all of a sudden they would just bring the bid up or bring the ask down. And then I'm sitting there going, you kidding me? You got to be kidding me. That would have been a great fill. I would have loved it. But instead now it starts, because I believe the market, once they see our orders, they kind of slap us around a little bit. And
yeah, you do have it a little bit, huh? That kind of conspiracy thing.
Yeah,
you don't trust anyone. I've watched the episode you had on Saturday, which was really interesting. But I forgot her. What was her name? I'm sorry. I'm bad
Carly?
with names. Yes, Carly.
Carly.
I really loved how she said, that nobody is there to get you. I mean, you are a client of the broker, right? So they are not gonna do anything that will harm you. But yes, I do have that sometimes, the same thing. Like if I put a hard stop, I have a feeling I just get stopped out. Not a feeling, it happens. I get stopped out and exactly at that low point, and then this thing goes. So yeah, maybe not on purpose, but it does happen. And yeah, maybe a system, I don't know.
Okay, so I've put on so many thousands of orders at this point and trades, and I have done like some of the most reckless trades. It doesn't matter what I do, and I would put it this way: if you're looking in a longer term and you have a plan where you're actually buying a support and you're selling, at a nice area on the chart, that's less of a, there's no conspiracies there. It works out the way it works out, and you just stop out and you move on, and there's no big deal. But if we're looking in the most immediate, like zoomed in, the next minute and a half, the next 5 minutes or something like that, or even day trading within the next couple hours at times, a stock will stop at your number and it will pull down just a little bit. It'll try to, I mean, these people have jobs and these algos were programmed for a reason, and that's not to carry the dead weight. And you and I are dead weight. So yes, in a way, a stock is trying to shake us, but it's not like the broker's out to get us. It's not like some big conspiracy. And then we can get into payment for order flow, and payment for order flow is a whole different beast. And so yeah, everything is supply and demand. There is no they, but yes, there is a they. We are the they. And I told you this before. I have friends that they short everything that I trade long. So the they in that case they're the they. They're the ones that are.
There's always a they. There's always the other side. That's for sure. Actually, I wanted to mention because you say you trade all these movers and everything that's moving, right? So you get the alert, something is moving, and then you start trading it. I get so many questions from my students, but also from people in general. They like, how do I find out about those stocks that are moving? And yes, you can have alerts. You can be signed up for websites for triggers, right? You get information. But what I want to mention is that it is not the only way, because you can also, like, especially if you're just starting, this can be pretty overwhelming, right? Because if you get an alert and you have never traded a stock and you don't know what it is, you suddenly see a chart and that something is moving, you will have such an urgency to jump into it that it will be much harder to control the trigger than if you pick the stocks up front, you know the chart, you know what the levels are, and you just stick to it. Just give you an example. And this is actually how I trade. I don't trade based on, okay, now something is moving and I'm jumping into it, because this is just not my style. So for example, now we have the earnings season, right? Today, Moderna, ENPH, still, they had great earnings, and I have been trading them every day. And they are moving very, you can, let's say, you can trust them. When they're moving, they're moving. When they're pulling back, and they're very clear levels. You can mark them up before you even start. And I have, like, once I have several charts, usually not more than 4 or 5 that I'm watching on the day. Today it was AMD, ENPH, Moderna, and I traded a few more. Actually, I traded, I think, like 9 tickers today. It was crazy, but they were the core, right? And I traded the whole day. Like I trade the hell out of the chart, right? Going up and going down, because then you start, I always say, you marry the stock for a day and you get acquainted with how it's behaving, how it's moving. And I think, Andy, you mentioned before, it's like you get more into that flow, right, of how the stock is behaving. And that just gives you a little bit more peace and control and confidence that you know what you're looking at, instead of, something you haven't seen before and now you want to be in it.
Yeah, as a trader, I think that it's good to know what you're trading. And for me, I know rippers, I know movers, I know these things. I've traded them so much that I'm gonna confess that a lot of times back in the day, I would listen to the Squawk, Charlie over at Benzinga, and anything that he would alert, he'll alert things, or he'll come across a Squawk that basically lets you know that this thing has moved a little bit, or we have a volume increase over here. And he's not saying trade it. He's actually come out in the chat before, and he's like, I don't really think that trading this is a good idea. But he lets you know, though, because he can't tell what's going to turn into something based off the news, or what is going to start moving when that volume increase pops in, or when we have a new high and a new high, or some option sweep, whatever. So I would buy it as soon as it was just a straight spike. So let's say we're off of $3, we're 360. I buy it the moment I touch it. We're back down to $3. We're now 270. Then we're 265, and then I'm seeing this thing make lower low after lower low, and that is definitely what can happen. So I've learned over time to understand these stocks to where I'm not just buying. I see something like that, and I'm like, nah, I ain't touching that. I'm looking for something that has strength and has the volume, and it's actually it's the same thing. It's just I'm willing to do it much faster.
Yeah, and it just trades different. And I think as long as you have built that experience, and you feel confident with it, and you know what you're looking for, that's exactly what I mean. So it takes time before you can actually trade those stocks, and it doesn't take time to watch different type of stocks and then jumping into it. I'm really talking about watching that type of stock, so that you kind of know what to expect. And of course, things might happen always that you will not expect, but then you will have at least some kind of familiarity with the price movement of the instrument.
Okay, my familiar, I can't say
familiarity. I was actually surprised it like rolled out.
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, I just can't talk today. But I'm my familiarity. Yeah, I can't talk it. I can't say it. But the point is that I'm familiar with these stocks in a way that I understand that they're going to smack me in the face. They're going to beat me in every way they can. Drop down and reject off my number. It happens time and time again. I expect the worst. That's the point in what I'm saying here. I expect the very worst. Mm-hmm. So when I first get into this, I'm thinking position size. I'm going to touch this stock with the lightest touch that I can, or the lightest touch I'm comfortable with. And I think that depends on who you are and what your account size is and everything. But I want to touch this with and I think that if you're over there trading like 5,000 shares of Apple every day, and all of a sudden you want to come trade penny stocks, I don't think that relates. Like I that is not the light touch at all.
I think I would probably get a heart attack if I did that. Can you imagine you buy 5,000 shares of Apple and then it just drops like crazy? I mean, like I would probably just get out as quick as I got in.
That's the thing. Like if you were trading the stuff that I'm trading and you bought 5,000 shares of Apple, it would drop down like $70 in the blink of an eye. You'd be losing over half of your position,
Yeah,
instantly.
Exactly. And I think this is really important to understand that, you really have to find the instrument and the way to trade that suits you, that suits your risk tolerance, the level of stress you want to have, how much fun you want to have, how quickly you want to take profit, because this is so personal. It's such a personal thing, and it doesn't matter what other people do. They can make money. They can post that they made a lot of money, and it doesn't mean that you will. Because first of all, you don't know every in and out that they do, their strategy. Maybe, like even following them step by step doesn't mean that when they go drawdown, and some do go 30%, I've heard.
That's crazy.
Maybe for you, I know, maybe for you that 10% will be scary and you will just get out and they will end up with profit, you will end up with loss. So it's so important to have your own idea about how you're going to plan the trade. And it doesn't mean that, you cannot have any drawdown, but it has to be within your emotional capital, because otherwise you will just shake yourself out and then you will see it going without you, right? And that's a pity, because you will start blaming yourself, and this whole negative spiral will start. So those triggers, it's like, do everything to get them out of the way, because you don't want to trigger the negative emotions. And remember that once you start following your process, and maybe, I don't know, maybe at the beginning you trade 10 shares, depending on your account size, right? Just to make sure that you can repeat those steps on a consistent basis. And then slowly you can increase. And then you can make a plan. Okay, if I want to make that much money, how does this look? Like, how quickly do I need to increase? Can I increase that quickly? Or is this even doable for me? Because might be that you say, oh, you know what? Oh, in 1 week, I'm going to go from 10 to 50. And then in 1 week, you'll feel shaky. Probably it's better to go back maybe to 20 and just make smaller steps. And some people don't, they can completely distantiate themselves from those emotions and just trade numbers, because they don't think about what is this money buying them, or what does this money mean for the future goal. It's just numbers, and it's very different. But it takes it takes a little bit of work to disconnect that from how you feel about that money. Stop identifying yourself with the money that you're actually making, because as you and you mentioned before we came live, after those days like this, you can feel invincible, right?
Yeah. Like yesterday, I definitely, well, I mean, I didn't feel invincible, but I felt like I was just flying high, because it was amazing. Everything was strong all at the same time. And rippers came back alive, which I've been waiting for quite a while. I've not really enjoyed trading penny stocks or any of these movers. Some of them, I don't know, technically, I guess penny stocks under $5, but any of these rippers, I consider them penny stocks, even if they're like $100, or the HKD up to $2,500. That's a penny stock to me as well. It trades like a penny stock, so it is a penny stock.
Yeah, that's actually a good one. I mean, it's incredible what happened with that stock, because that's almost like unheard of, right? Something like that. I mean, I have seen before a stock going, 300%, and then another day 200%. I've seen that, but I don't think I've ever seen like the nominal value going from 12 to over $2,000, which is insane. And funny thing is, as I said, in the past, I would want to be in it. And now the crazier it becomes, the more I have back off. Don't even look at this. Don't, because I know that it would get me triggered, and I have no idea how to trade it. So I just simply protect myself from it. Like, I don't even want to look at that.
The first way for managing it for me is understanding how much I can lose. And I can lose at least the whole movement of the chart that I've seen so far. So if I see that the stock came from $30 up to $2,500, well, then I'm going to lose quite a bit if I trade than even more than one share. And that brings me back to a point. You said 10 shares. I say, when paper trading is great, but whenever if I would have paper traded, I would have wanted to come out into one share, just learning how to make money, a little bit of money.
Exactly.
And then another thing I would like to say is that, if we make $100 a day, that's $25,000 a year. If you do $300 a day, that's $75,000. You're an engineer now. You're an intro level engineer at this point.
Yeah. And yes, and a lot of times we do think about it that way. And I think it brings especially new traders into a kind of a false expectations, right? Because and I know why I know that you don't think that, but if you guys start thinking, okay, I just need to make $100 a day, remember that this will not be $100 a day. It's on average. So maybe one day you will make 300, and maybe the other day you will not make anything, and then another day you will lose, right? So we're talking average, because a lot of times that expectation of making some money every day and thinking, oh, even if I make $50, that's already, if it's every day, stop focusing on that result. Start focusing on the process, because this is your employee thinking, I need to make money every day, right? And that mindset actually gets you into trouble, where you say, okay, there might be another opportunities, and it's all according to your process and according to your strategy, but you will not take it because you will say, oh yeah, but I already made $50 today. How about tomorrow? What if you don't make tomorrow $50 because there are no opportunities? So it's finding the balance of stop connecting yourself too much to that result, how much you have to make. Just follow the process and follow your risk parameters, right? Because as you say, how much can you lose? If you keep that in mind and you keep losing less than you're making, then you're fine. And then at the end, you will get to your goal. So your numbers have to be intact, but don't focus on the number, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, if we're making $2,000 in a day, and then we're losing $3,000 in a day, and we're doing the losing more than winning, obviously that's not working out. I don't know, but just like, I'm glad you said that though, and it's an average. It's not an everyday. We need to profit, and it is, like you said also, that it's trading like a business. We need to make sure that we understand that this is a plan through the year. It brings to mind. When we're shopping, sometimes we'll go for the smaller thing that's cheaper when we know that we're going to consume such and such amount per year. And if we bought this other one, or we bought this sale, and we're like, well, or there's a sale, there's a really good sale, and we don't want to buy more than one because we don't want to increase the bill that day. Why not increase the bill that day? Because you know that you're getting that sale price and it's going to cover the whole year. But our minds tell us, no, don't do that, because we don't want to increase the bill too much.
It's funny because I'm actually that person who does stock up on moments like that, like Prime Day, Amazon Prime Day, because I buy protein powder and electrolytes tablets always, almost like every 2 weeks, right? And I don't like to be subscribed to things because I feel somehow it takes away my freedom. It's crazy, but it just, it's coming. Even maybe I didn't use it yet, and it's already coming. But on Prime Day, they had like 50 off, and I stocked up because I'm like, I'm using this anyway, this is like double supply. So I would definitely do that. And those opportunities, when they come along, it's like, if you can, why wouldn't you take advantage from it, right? Because of that small thinking, oh my God, it's, now I have to spend more. Well, you will spend that money anyway. You will spend it. In fact, you will spend more, right?
The only reason that we shouldn't do that is if our budget says we can't. And that's the same thing with trading. If somehow we're trading with a $200 account, the last thing we should probably doing is putting the whole entire $200. I mean, 200 is a very small number. Probably too small.
I don't even know. Is that even possible to trade with $200?
Oh, it's very possible. It's very possible.
You can actually open an account. You see, I don't even, with $200, you can open an account. I took
a $120 account once, and I turned it into like $2,600 in one day, and it was just this particular account.
I don't want to know how.
I just buying. I think buying puts or calls. I don't know. Options though.
Okay. With the risk that was reasonable, or were you just gambling?
I was probably risking half the account.
What? The microphone is breaking?
I was probably risking half the account, but so that's why I'm saying the number of the account is not really going to work out too well, because if you have a $200 account, it's more than likely you're going to be pushing the limits. But even then, I don't know. I would rather traders just get to know, use little bits and get to know what it's like to gain consistency and not go for a number, because then they can become a good trader. And then when they finally do save up enough money to start working with something real, then at that point they'll understand what to do. But I do hear the cries. I have somebody that's on the phone with me recently, even they're like, I only have like a $600 account. It's not enough. And it feels like that, but learn how to trade wherever we're at, even if it's paper trading. That way we're ready when we get to that point to really do good instead of gambling.
And I think you really hit the point there. Learn consistency first. And I don't think that there's a lot of understanding about the consistency itself among traders. and I'm talking beginner traders, okay? Because obviously if you're in the market for a longer time, I think you have an idea that consistency doesn't come from trading long enough. You can actually become consistent before you start making money, because consistency is about the repetition of the same process, repetition of the pattern. So if you can execute the same strategy over and over and over again the same way, then you can say, I'm consistent in my process, I'm consistent in my strategy, right? And then you can start using that to make money, if that makes sense. And you can do it on paper, or you can make it, with real money, but it's just like doing stuff during the day or going to the gym. It's the consistency of it, so that you stay in that habit of doing the right thing. So it is not that you will just trade and make all the mistakes all the time, because you can also be consistent in making mistakes, right? You can be consistently making the same mistake, and then yes, you are consistent, just not in a thing you want.
See, I was looking down just now.
How many people consistently break the rules? Sorry.
I was looking down because you got me excited talking about that, because I just recently read a post that I was tagged in, or reshared my post. Anyways, it's basically the same point. It's that we need to be careful the habits that we're building, the things that we're doing to get wherever we're going. If we're in the habit of breaking the speed limit every time we go to work, eventually we're going to get a ticket or get in an accident or something.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, like, if you take that as a metaphor, we are pretty much good in, habits that have to do with, like, car driving, with safety. We have a habit to stop at the red light, right? Because we understand that if we pass the red light, most likely we'll get hurt. And maybe you will do it one time somewhere because just the orange changed. Although I must say, where I live, people drive through the red light all the time, and it's crazy. To their defense, the lights are really long. Once it's changed, it takes forever, but still not a good excuse. Anyhow, so we can keep that habit in, right? But in trading, somehow, every single time when when you chase the trade, or when you remove your stop, basically what you're doing is you're like, it's a red light, but I'm just gonna close my eyes and go through it. Just imagine doing that with your car. It would be completely crazy. So think about it next time when you're trying to remove your stop because you're afraid you will be stopped out.
Now you're hitting home with me again. You're doing it again. You're really getting in there.
Please don't tell me you run the light.
No, I won't run the lights. I'm not even in a hurry. The only time I'm speeding, not really speeding, but I really like to take off fast and maybe turn fast if I'm in a really nice car. But other than that, I'm not really trying to speed or get a ticket. But the point is that I try really hard not to get a ticket. I don't want a $336 or whatever these tickets are these days. I avoid that like the plague. But over here in my trading, $336, I'm like, why not? And I know that if I increased my level of awareness on my trades, sometimes if I would be a little more patient, just like I would with my driving, that I wouldn't have to have that $336 loss. It's just funny that I won't take it from the cops, and I don't want that. So I'm careful out there, but I'm not as careful with my trading.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and it most likely has to do with what you're comparing it to, because $300, if you look at in your daily life at the daily cost, $300 maybe in your household, and all the picture of all the costs, it might be a lot of money, right? Because for $300 you probably can feed the family for a few days, right? So it's like, how do you translate that money? But then in trading, you probably look, $300, if I make, I don't know, you must be making significantly more than that, so that the $300 seems nothing. So if you would stop comparing it to your average day, or to your average, to your profit that you are used to, and just start looking at the value of what can you buy for that money, that might help you to actually be a little bit more, cautious and picky on yourself. Like, hey, $300 is actually still a lot of money and it's not nothing. So let me maybe go a little lower. Or
because I mean, I would be angry. I don't like the internet bill. The internet bill, they want to charge like $120 a month for a good internet. And it's like, that's ridiculous. But yet in trading, I'm like, $120. Well, that's the cost to play. Let's play.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. And I think that the whole part of how you value things is just such an interesting thing, because that connection, I mean, you have to take the number and somehow give it a value. What does it mean for you, right, in life? To decide whether something is expensive or cheap, right? The question is, like in trading, when you are buying a stock, that whole idea about is it cheap or is it expensive? Like, it sort of doesn't exist, because you're not, unless you're swing trading or investing, because then you have to look, obviously, like what is the good price for that. But in day trading, you're just buying and support. I'm not asking myself, is this stock now cheap enough to buy it for me? No, I want to buy it at the lows, but it is the low of, some support or the strategy that I'm trading. And like, okay, this gives me the least risk, and not so much, I don't care if this is the cheapest price I can get. It's the risk and the reward that I'm getting for it. So it's a very different way of thinking about the price.
Yeah.
Order filled. Check us out.
You know what time it is.
This is the Mighty Soldiers exclusive.
Yeah. Let's get it. Let's get it. If you wanna take it to the streets, let's get it. If you wanna take it to the booth, let's get it. I'm about to take it to the top, let's get it. We ain't never ever gonna stop, let's get it. You ain't never heard nobody spit like this. Call the paramedics when I get like this. Front page news when I wreck like this. Hop in the booth and I wreck that shit like,
If you with the squad, then you already know what's up. It be going down, but my account is going up. I'm about to make another 100,000 bucks. Rolling up that chain, I'm about to take another puff.
Hold up, I made a killing, now my pockets got swollen. Independent, now I'm taking over. I'm a lot richer, you a lot broker. I'm a pot smoker, stockbroker, blowing up like a supernova. On my mama, I was born a soldier, the best in the game, man. I thought I told you. If you wanna take it to the streets, let's get it. If you wanna take it to the booth, let's get it. I'm about to take it to the top, let's get it. We ain't never ever gonna stop, let's get it. You ain't never heard nobody spit like this. Call the paramedics when I get like this. Front page news when I wreck like this. Hop in the booth and I wreck that shit like, I am unstoppable, I can do anything I ever wanted to. Never did anything they ever wanted me to. Got on my side and I'm not gonna lose and they're not gonna win. I see them, the haters, it's all cause I'm getting dollars again. Commas on commas on commas, I'm buying the dip. The market is dropping again. I can see him hating from the sideline. If you see a hater, tell him bye-bye. Watch my money grow, 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 grow. And my wifey like, whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa. Somebody better stop me, cause there ain't no competition and I'm coming for the top position. Obliterating the opposition every time that I jot it in the composition. Everybody wanna stop and listen, cause I bring it to you hotter than the oven in your mama kitchen. I be getting hit like a politician. I'ma get bread when you stack looking taller than Scottie Pippen. Ain't nobody ready for the Armageddon when I pop the clip and I ain't playing. I'm spraying you brain, I'm bringing the pain like Damon Wayne. You disappear like David Blaine. I'm dropping bombs, Saddam Hussein. Stop and aim, pop you lames and pop champagne. I ain't playing, so stop the games, you know the name. If you wanna take it to the streets, let's get it. If you wanna take it to the booth, let's get it. I'm about to take it to the top, let's get it. We ain't never ever gonna stop, let's get it. You ain't never heard nobody spit like this. Call the paramedics when I get like this. Front page news when I wreck like this. Hop in the booth and I wreck that shit like, Yeah. 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 Alright, man, I'm out.